What is going on, Rotogrinders? Dean here. That's Dean 78904. That is the daily fantasy handle around the industry. It's 5:30 in the East Coast, 2:30 West Coast, 4:30 Tennessee time. So, of course, it's time for the flagship show here at Rotogrinders. It's called Grinderslive. Join me today, not messing around. 10 games. It might be 9. We'll talk about that in a second. 3-man booth. Is this, Andre, is this the first time this concocts the three of us? Cardi, myself, yourself. I feel like this has not happened before. Has this happened before and I just forgot it?
Oh, this is the first time this happened before, but I've worked with Cardi before on Crunch Time.
Yeah. There you go. What's going on? How are you feeling about today's slate? Did you play the early slate? Devin, producer Devin, apparently has a couple sweats going on potentially. I did not play it. Did you dabble, or are you saving all the brains for tonight?
Nah, I actually haven't really been playing baseball a lot lately. I've been trying to focus on NFL and just get this right since week 1 went horribly wrong. Than I expected it to go, but I'm dabbling back into baseball tonight. Going to try to, have some great picks and hopefully takes a couple tournaments down.
I have talked to nobody that said, "Hey, I won money week 1." I had a terrible week 1. I've heard Head Chopper said I had to get a terrible week 1. Yourself, Cardi, break the streak. Did you have a positive week 1 as far as football? I know it's a small sample, but yeah,
I didn't. Week 1 was weird. You had to do something real weird to win week 1.
Yeah, I don't know who won. I'm curious who won week 1. But yeah, the Blitz. Yeah, tell the people about the Blitz if they're not aware, and especially if you're a fan of the bat. If you like the bat, then you'll love the Blitz. I think.
Yeah, the Blitz is awesome. It did not do amazing week 1, but historically it has done very well. It's my projection system for football. Accounts for lots and lots of different factors, the same way the bat does for baseball. Yeah, if you haven't checked it out, definitely take a look.
Oh man, it's the overlap season, Cardi. This is the hardest working time for you, I imagine, the next 3 weeks or so, three and change. But yeah, we're still grinding. It's month 6. We're still grinding as far as baseball. There's still money to be won. This slate, Cardi, do we like this slate? That the good pitchers are kind of thin. There's a bunch of guys that are fine. But yeah, talk to me about give me the overview. Give me the screenshot before you start talk about the pitchers, our favorite stacks. We'll entertain whatever was on chat's mind. Feel free to start firing off your questions. Devin will be compiling them and throwing them my way, and I'll be firing them back at these fine gentlemen. What do you have for me, Cardi, as far as your screenshot, the 20,000 foot shot, as far as tonight's 9 or 10 game slate? We'll talk about that in a second, or you can spoil it for people. Tell them what Roth is saying.
Yeah, so I mean, Roth is saying that this Colorado-Atlanta game is probably not going to happen. He has it orange-red, which kind of sucks because I thought Atlanta was an interesting stack. I thought there were some values on Colorado, but we can deal without it. It's a fine slate. There's kind of 3 high-end pitchers that I think most of the ownership is gonna congregate around. There's one offense that the bat loves and thinks is just like the best offense tonight, but there are several others that I think are good. So there's There is a good amount of options, I think, on both sides of the ball tonight.
We got Jordan in the chat saying, to be fair, I guess we did great as far as, or the Blitz did great as far as sports betting. I don't know if that was a sports.
Oh
scores
yeah,
and odds
anyone
plug.
who used it for sports betting apparently crushed. Every single person has told me that.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I would just went ahead and drop that link in chat for people if you want to read it at your own leisure. But you guys know Roth's color system. Red is the absolute worst. Orange is still scary, and he's got orange in front of the red, but it does not look particularly likely that Atlanta game goes. Stay tuned on Crunch Time. Of course, Roth will be on there and give you a final call if the game isn't already postponed at that point. Hey, speaking of sports betting, sign up for Prize Picks today. Use promo code Grinders, GRINDERS, with your first deposit for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. And Andre, I think did you have a couple picks for the people as far as some Prize Picks winners you have? And shout out to Will, who he tweets us out a bunch of times. Follow him on Twitter, and he's on the show sometime giving out some winners. I saw he just tweeted out he had some winners earlier today. So your thoughts as far as tonight? Who do you like as far as Prize Picks players?
Yeah, so I don't really got the script on the graphic yet, but my 3 picks are 3 hitters that I think are going to go over, and actually I think they're going to go over in a big way by hitting a home run. So I like Jose Ramirez in that matchup against Minnesota. So to me, against Jackson knows he's pitched okay recently, I believe, but not the best. So I think he can hit a bomb off of him. Shohei Ohtani going against Keuchel. We know Keuchel's been pitching horrible lately, so I look for Shohei to knock one out the park. I think he has to knock one out in like a couple of games or so. And then my wild card one, I think, is Herrera, who I think is also going to be low owned in lineups. And for the part of Philly stacks, which I like a lot today, against Chicago, against Suarez. So I think he's going to hit one out the park today too as well.
Cardi, you mentioned there's one team that's kind of like popping off the bat. We're not going to talk hitters just yet, but tease the people. Is it the Yankees? I assume it's the Yankees, or no?
Yeah, it's the Yankees. If you run like optimal lineups in the bat, like it's shoving 5 Yankees in every single lineup. They project as the best stack. They project to score the most runs by 3/4 of a run. It was actually over a full run earlier. The lineup must have been not quite as good as was expected, but they're still easily the best offense tonight. And we only have them projected as like the 3rd highest owned team. Is that going to be the case? Because if they're not the highest owned, then I really love them.
It's surprising, and also it's going to kind of throw things off because this Atlanta game, that game gets rained out. Some ownership beat will be shuffling around as well too. And well, yeah, the reason why that number probably plummeted a little bit, not plummeted, but ticked down. The Yankees are in the middle of a pennant race. Every game matters, and the guy they just made a big trade for, Joey Gallo, you got to sit him for Brett Gardner. You got to see what Brett Gardner has in 2021.
I mean, he's not leading off. At least he was leading off for like a week straight. It felt like.
Did you watch, as a Met fan? Did you watch the Lindor, Stanton stuff? That was amazing. That was fabulous. Like Lindor, banging out his 3rd homer of the game, and I don't know if it was Stanton was talking stuff to Lindor when he was rounding the bases, or Lindor was accusing him of signs being stolen. Did you watch any of this stuff? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I missed this.
Yeah.
Did you see, Andre? You're a Yankee fan. Did you see this?
Yeah, I saw it. It was interesting. I thought they cleared the benches because Lindor was pretty much accusing the Yankees of stealing signs and whistling whenever the pitch was being thrown or certain pitch was being thrown. So it was interesting to see that. And I know everyone that's a Mets fan is like, the Yankees, Mets are the best team in New York. They're still not. Let's get that straight. But the Yankees are in a tough position right now in a tight pennant race that hopefully they'll pull off and win.
Some batting lineup stuff, just kind of noting Tim Anderson came back. Now he's not playing tonight. Maybe he plays tomorrow afternoon because there's a day game. The Astros of note, Brantley went on the IL, so he's not playing baseball. And also no Bregman in that lineup and no Correa in that lineup. So Houston, Cardi, I imagine Houston probably got ticked down a bit. The 2 of their big bats not playing.
Yeah, the bat's not super on Houston. And right now that's who is projected as the highest owned stack. So I would suspect that comes down a little, but if they are going to be like one of the chalkier stacks, I think they're one I have less interest in.
Yeah, I mean, Mlb Dfs now batting 2nd. Myers is going to take some hacks. Marwin Gonzalez is still an Astro. He's playing baseball tonight, and Chaz
That's still an Astro. He did leave for a while, I think. He was with the Twins, and
was he DFA'd by somebody? I feel like he was DFA'd, and I guess he knows that team, so he's picked them back up. I don't know what's the story with that, but yeah. Well, the Astros are in cruise control, right? They're just waiting for the playoffs, so whatever. Give Marwin a shot.
Marwin just signed with them 3 weeks ago. I'm like, when did Marwin join the Astros? He signed a deal a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, this is the kind of the time of year when guys start to kind of pop up. I'm like, that guy's on that team. Yeah, like the former Ray outfielder that's on the Dodgers, like it caught me out of nowhere. It's like that guy's in the Dodgers. I can't. It's kind of one of those sluggers.
Or who are you talking about?
Yeah, that's the guy. I had no idea he was a Dodger. I don't just
not anymore. I think he got DFA'd.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, you got to keep a spot for Pujols, right?
I don't know how he's still like a big part of what they're like. It doesn't make
he's a good locker room guy, veteran leadership, all that good stuff.
I mean, locker room's fine, but he was batting cleanup for him for half the year. Like, no wonder you're struggling to make the playoffs. No wonder you're struggling to win the division, Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean the playoffs they're making, but they might find themselves in the wild card game, and that's gonna, one and done. That's a scary predicament for sure. I guess it could be worse. It could be the Padres. All right, let's talk tonight's slate. 10-gamer again. Keep your eye on Atlanta, Colorado. That game may potentially get rain out. I guess we'll kind of like acknowledge it to some existence, but as of right now, I'm assuming Roth is correct, and it's more likely to not play than to actually play. But again, stay tuned on that. Not going to pretend to be a meteorologist. Cardi, talking about the pitchers today. Well, speaking of the Dodgers, I think the best actual real life pitcher is Urias, right? He's kind of sort of somewhat pricey. They don't extend them a ton, maybe like 92, 93, 94 kind of pitches, something like that. Good K rate, good ground ball rate. He's going to throw some strikes, not going to walk you. Is he worth spending up on? Because there's a couple guys in the mid tier that are also kind of sort of somewhat interesting.
On DraftKings, I think he could be. I don't think you have to. I think there's probably 3 guys and you're picking 2 of them. I think you're probably deciding between Urias and Tyler McGill as your SP1, and I'm fine with either one. Urias is better. McGill's a little cheaper. On FanDuel, McGill is a lot cheaper, and so I think you just play him. But on DraftKings, it's close enough where either one is totally fine. Arizona is a weak offense. More strikeouts, these days than they had earlier in the season. They project this lineup projects their projected lineup projects as an above average strikeout lineup, which is kind of nice. So I like Urias. I like Tyler McGill. It's a solid enough spot for him as well. He's a good enough pitcher. So you're playing one of those 2, I think, as your SP1 on DraftKings.
Yeah, and I agree with the FanDuel conversation. I think he's the best pitcher on FanDuel tonight when you consider the asking price. McGill has pretty dramatic splits. I don't know if the sample size is big enough, but if you look at his splits against righties this year, 30.3% K rate, that's awesome. 4.8% walk rate, that's awesome. 56% ground ball rate, that's excellent. The WOBA is good. The ISO is good. And the Cardinals, they can only get so left-handed. They're not going to play Matt Carpenter. I assume he's still on that team. They haven't cut him just yet. They got Edman and they have Carlson, and that's that, right? They have 2 lefties. Otherwise, everybody else sitting for the right-hand side, and it's also a negative ball.
Or no, three lefties there tonight. I don't know who the other one is, but they do have one
missing.
in there.
Well, John Lester, does he count?
Oh yeah, that'll be it. Lester counts.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I never really know what to deal with that, but I guess Lester's not a good hitter. I probably should investigate that, but yeah, Andre, your thoughts as far as pitcher? Do you see yourself spending up on Urias? Do you see yourself with more McGill? You can of course pair them together on DK, and there's basically 3 or 4 guys. Then we'll talk about it. But what is your position as far as pitchers?
Pitchers, I have a really tight player pool today, but I like playing up on Urias and McGill. They both are in excellent spots. I think they should both. They both warrant being number 1 and number 2. So I'm probably trying to get to a lot of them. I don't even have a pitcher in my player pool. I think past the lowest I have is 7,200. And that's being Rangers Suarez. But other than that, like Urias, to me, he has potential for a high strike, a good matchup against Arizona, even though they can still hit and do pretty well. But I still think Urias is just one of the better pitchers to go with on the slate. And McGill too against Seattle. Against St. Louis. Sorry, we know. He's a young pitcher with a lot of, I think, strikeout ability and upside. So I definitely love the matchup for him against St. Louis. And I think he should do pretty well. But the pitcher, I think I'm probably at the field with them, maybe a little bit above. But the one pitcher I think I'm going to get the most of, just because of the matchup, and hopefully doesn't bite me, is Rangers Suarez at 7,200 is the lowest pitcher. I think I think the field is going to be heavy on too because of Chicago, and it's a good matchup for him. There's no reason why we shouldn't want to roster him, for sure. I mean, no one on Chicago has a strikeout, has a K rate of except for the first is for Duffy and Swindle have a strikeout rate pretty much below 22 from what I'm looking at right here. Everyone else has a high strikeout rate. So I expect that to come into play. And then also the contact rate that they have is pretty high, is pretty low for all of them. So I think this is a good matchup for him, and he has potential to be a great value saver, and probably going to be the one I'm going to be the highest on compared to the field on DK. But I also do like into Jose Urquidy. I know we also don't like I mean, I know he's going to be lower owned compared to everyone else, and the price being 10K, I think it's going to scare people off him. And I understand it, but it's a match against Texas, who still has a pretty strikeout heavy lineup, if I'm correct, that they're bringing out today. I haven't looked at the lineup yet, but I think that he's also in play, and it's a good GPP play compared to the other pitchers too as well.
Yeah, Urquidy's good, but they're asking for a full price, and I don't know if he's going to throw a full allotment of pitches. Since coming back, what does he have? 71 pitches and 70 pitches, 3 innings pitched, 4 1/3.
I think he can get up to about 85 today, maybe 90, but that requires him. But also, I think since it is a good strikeout matchup, I think he can go like 1, 2, 3 in the order real quick. It's just depending on that. That's what I'm banking on when I'm going to be a little bit overweight at the field on him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess considering the nature of the slate, there's really no pitcher that should really jump off the board. And I suppose, Urias is the guy who can strike out 10 or something like that. But, just a respectable score. And salary is not that hard to find, especially the SB2 has been kind of cheap on DK as well. So if you're just thinking raw points and he does fine in 5 innings, sure, that's possible. Nice matchup there against Texas. Have you thought? I didn't really consider much about him, Cardi, because I'm just concerned with the pitch count and the price wasn't great. I figured he probably wouldn't beat out all of Mania, Suarez, and Urias.
Yeah, he's not a guy that I was really thinking too much about, again, because the pitch count, probably going to be 85, like you said, and the price. So definitely not a guy you're considering for cash games, but he will be off the board. I just worry if the upside is there with the pitch count.
Yeah, the thing with Suarez, he's got an incredible ground ball rate this season, 61.5%. The K rate's good at 24.9. Walks a few too many guys, and this is actually a really patient Chicago team. They walk at 11.5% collectively, a lot of green in the plate IQ, and 9.1% for Suarez. But is that what we're looking at, Cardi? Like from a cash game perspective on DK, it's got to be 2 of Urias, Suarez, and who am I missing? I'm missing the third, McGill, right? It's 2 of those 3, right?
Yep, definitely 2 of those 3, and probably Suarez as one of the 2. He's just the cheapest of them. He doesn't project that much worse. The matchup's really good. Park downgrade for Chicago, super strikeout heavy. And he's a decent pitcher. So I think that's the way you go in cash. And then you are just kind of doing something different in GPPs. Like Urquidy, I think is interesting. I think Musgrove in that price range is also really interesting against San Francisco. Like, I don't think a lot of people are going to play him, but there's a case to be made that he's the most talented pitcher on the slate. And so I think he's fine. I think Mania is fine. I don't mind Dallas Keuchel as as just a way to make your life different and save money. Like, he projects okay. He's 5.8K. He projects as the top point per dollar guy on the slate. And LA's not good. Like, outside of Ohtani, who's going to be lefty against him, they don't really have anybody else. So I don't mind him.
13.3% K rate in the season. But like, you're right. It's terrible versus terrible. This Angel lineup is awful as well. The only guy, the Fletcher leading off is kind of annoying at 5.9%. Gosselin will make some contact, but he's not good. Ditto with Lagares, ditto with Suzuki, but collectively 24.8%. There are some strikeouts. They're heavily impatient, 5% as far as walking collectively. Oh man. Are you
kind of game where like Keuchel could get his strikeouts just by being efficient? Like, he doesn't waste pitches and walk anybody, and he goes really deep into the games. He throws 8 innings with 6 strikeouts and no runs and gets the win and winds up with like 25 or 30 DraftKings points.
In my head, I was just gonna say I bet his total is like 3.5, and I'm just according to the lineup HQ, 3.5 strikeouts and the -103. So you like the over 4 strikeouts. That must be a hell of a sweat.
The bet has about 4.25 strikeouts, which isn't a lot. But you're not real. I mean, he's going to make you different, and he's going to let you pay for stuff. So again, it's not like a priority guy, but I think he's interesting enough.
Andre, how many lineups you making tonight?
75 with each site.
How many do you think Keuchel's going to land on?
0. 0. I eliminated him from player pool. He's not even a part of it. I like Nestor Cortez. I don't think he's a bad option today too as well. I know Baltimore's a little bit tough, especially in that ballpark too. But I think he has a chance to be a good put up a decent score, especially in GPPs.
I'm just taking a peek here at the chat. Friends don't let friends play Keuchel. Yeah, the chat's on my side and the Andre's side in this one as far as Keuchel.
But
I get
that's
it.
like part of the thing. No one wants to play him, so you're going to get him at like 2% ownership.
The chat likes the mush play. This is my mush play. I'm happy to mush the Dallas Keuchel. He's just, man, I think he's just done. I'm pretty sure he's done, but I could be wrong. Like, anybody in baseball can get by. BABIP can be on their side and all that. Like you said, it's a good matchup too, and I think there'll be runs scored from him, so he's got a shot to get that W if he can stick around for 5 innings as well.
So I have a question real quick then. So would you rather play an overpriced Urquidy with who's going to probably pitch about 85 pitches or Dallas Keuchel?
Gardy?
I'd probably play Keuchel, honestly.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, the pitch count, I think, is a big deal. It really it limits the ceiling. And even though Keuchel is not like a big strikeout guy or like a great pitcher anymore, if he's efficient, he's the kind of guy who can throw 8 innings or can, I don't know.
That's true.
So,
That is true. Yeah. So I get it. It makes sense. That's just too much for me on my plate.
I'll take the Urquidy side, but if you're going to force me to just roster one, I will take Urquidy and just make the money work somehow. I'll figure it out. There's plenty of value plays. Extreme hitters, umpires for Yanoa, assuming they play baseball. They may or may not. We'll see. Griffin Jacks is an extreme hitters umpire. Kyle Quantrill, extreme hitters umpire. The aforementioned Julio Urias has an extreme hitters umpire, as well as Senzatella and Merrill Kelly, who's coming back from COVID issues. First time pitching like in a month or so. He did pitch a rehab start. He went 4 innings or so. Looked pretty good when I according to the box score. I can't say I grinded the tape on that one. Merrill Kelly, I mean, we're not playing Merrill Kelly, right? His first game back in a month, and not a great matchup.
He's going to throw like 55 pitches, like just no reason at all.
Yeah, I mean, according to I don't know where you saw that or if that's an official one. I saw like his DK blurb that suggested like 75 or something like that. Let me see if I can pull it up. I don't know if it matters, but what it is blurb.
I mean, I'll adjust the projections. That's like a thing that they've said, but based on his rehabs and stuff, 75 seems aggressive.
It did, yeah. The right-hander will be making his first start since August 11th, and he could approach 80 to 90 pitches in this outing. Yeah. I don't know if that's a quote. I don't know if that's somebody at TK
39 in his rehab start a week ago. He might have thrown some on the side, so I can look into that. But otherwise, you don't jump from 39 pitches to 90.
Especially if you're going nowhere. Like Arizona has no reason to push him like that. It doesn't make any sense. Like that's why I saw that note and I thought it was interesting. I'm like, that doesn't seem right. I have the same sort of thought process as you as far as the ownership stuff. And again, this might get shuffled around, especially if that Atlanta game gets rained out. Let's see on DK ownership wise. I'm scrolling back because I was taking a peek at the okay. Yeah, we have Ranger Suarez at 35%, then McGill at 30, Urias at 28, Yanoa at 21, which that ownership might get shuffled around. Keuchel at 19%. So Cardi, you're not alone, man. You got some friends. Shamanaya is a good pitcher. Cardi, why aren't we talking about him?
I mentioned him. I think he's totally fine. It's a decent enough spot. He's a good enough pitcher. I think I prefer Manaya or Musgrove to Urquidy just because they project about the same. They're about the same price. They're a little cheaper, and they don't have the restrictions. So yeah, I'm totally fine with Manaya. You
have a thought on Manaya, Andre?
I think Manaya's in a good spot today. I like him. I'm gonna get to him a little bit, definitely in tournaments. And I think I agree with it as far as what everything Cardi said. I'm just trying to make sure my lineup is more contrarian than others. And I know going and playing for Urquidy and just hoping for the best against that matchup because the matchup is obviously better for him than Kansas City, in my opinion. But anything can happen on any given slate, and I'm gonna have a little bit of both, honestly, just to hedge the field.
Keep throwing your questions there in chat. Something we haven't talked about, someone you want us to elaborate on. Give us the details. Is it for FanDuel? Is it for DraftKings? Is it for tournaments? Single entry, MME, mass multi-entry, all that good stuff. Devin will compile. He's going to throw the question my way, and I'll ask these gentlemen before the end of the show. Do my best to knock them all out. That lineup for Kansas City, by the way, it's pretty contact heavy. Just outside of Mondesi, who's been striking out a ton in a small sample, and Dozier. Otherwise, it's a pretty contact heavy lineup, 20% collectively as far as striking out. Minor was scratched for what it's worth on the Kansas City side. We have Carlos Hernandez, who's super cheap on DK. I don't know how much you need that. Is Keuchel distinctly better than Carlos Hernandez today, Cardi? They're basically the same price.
They're the same price, but Keuchel projects 5 points better.
Okay.
I also did look into Merrill Kelly. I still don't think you should play him, but it looks like maybe about 80 pitches today.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm not playing him either way, but that's just thought it was kind of worth noting. Is there anything else that we should talk about here, Andre, as far as the pitchers? Anything else? Nestor Cortez, he's got that cool mustache. He's facing Baltimore, and he's on your Yankees. He's kind of cheap. He's okay.
I'm gonna have a little bit of him today. Not a lot. I'll be probably a little bit under the field on him for sure. I just think that anything with the Yankees is kind of nerve-wracking for me right now, just because of how they play. 1 minute you think they're doing good and on the right track, and then next minute everything just falls off and goes left. So, but yeah, I think he's a good play today. Like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, 5 hitters in the line with high strikeout rates. So I don't see why he can't strike, why he can't do that. And no one really has a high contact rate either. So he can definitely get a couple strikeouts in this matchup. The only that worries me is the park a little bit. And obviously we know he does give him a lot of he limits hard contact, which is good, and has and does a lot of fly balls, so which is a little bit of a problem too. So it's going to be iffy. So I'll be at the field with him definitely, but I won't go over the field for him.
I have an important question about Nestor Cortez. Do the Yankees allow facial hair now? They never used to. Is that they changed the rule?
I think mustaches are fine, right?
Yeah, I think mustaches are fine, but other than that, everything else it has to be clean shaved.
Yeah, I mean, I guess some old Yankees did have mustaches. All right, yeah.
You got to shave those sideburns. You got to make sure those sideburns are shaved down. Don Mattingly learned that one. I'm thinking of the Simpsons episode. Never mind. It's a totally different thing. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Maybe, possibly. Somebody in chat, let me know. Save those sideburns. They had a team. We won't get into it. One of the better Simpsons episodes of all time. So Cortez, 26.5% as far as his K rate, the walk rate at 6.5%. So, pretty decent. That ballpark's not great. The matchup, Mancini not playing baseball. He was in the lineup and he was out like instantly. They scratched him right away. So no Trey Mancini. So the lineup a little bit weak in there. Give us a summary here, Cardi, as far as the pitching. How are you approaching arms tonight?
Play 2 of Urias, McGill, Ranger Suarez in DK Cash. Play McGill on FanDuel Cash. In GPPs, mix in whoever you want. Manaea, Musgrove, Urquidy, Keuchel, if you are not completely grossed out by it. Yeah, that's kind of pitching, I think.
Right now, Andre, who are you taking the biggest stand on? Either like way over or way under?
I'm taking the biggest stand. It's hard. Like I want to say I'm gonna take the biggest stand on gosh, man, I want to say Urquidy, but I'm gonna take the biggest stand on him and be a little bit over the field on him, just compared to everyone else. And like everyone else played Nestor Cortez. I mean, not Nestor Cortez. Play Dallas Keuchel at 19%, which I think he's going to end up in the negatives today personally, because I think LA could surprise some people, even though they're not that great of a team either. So, but yeah, I think that's my biggest stand on it. And to me, pitching on DK, play one of the top 3 that is on the board as far as Suarez, Urias, or McGill in your lineup. I think in every single lineup, and then mix in the second SP with whoever you like the most, and don't be afraid to get different. Take some chances on Musgrove as well. I know we talked about Urquidy too, but Musgrove I know it's a tough matchup with San Francisco, but he obviously has the talent and the upside and the strikeout ability to do well in that matchup. And Sean Manaea as well too. That's a low on pitchers.
Let's defensive Dallas Keuchel. The Angels do have the 5th lowest Vegas team total on the slate. I'm just saying.
They do.
Yeah. Well, Chicago's also got a really good bullpen. I mean, all right. But like if Dallas Keuchel gives up like 7 runs, you're probably not going to see Kopech. All right. Well, hey, speaking of the White Sox, Cardi, they are our #1 consensus team, according to Stacks today, which is probably surprising you to some extent, because you were talking about how much like the Yankees. Of course, the Yankees, they're on the board. They're on the podium. Actually, they're 3rd, in fact. Houston in second, which I think we should probably downgrade them a tick because of that lineup is just a little bit weaker than we expected. Chicago, Houston, Yankees. This is consensus. Dodgers, Philadelphia, and Cleveland got others receiving votes. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, that sounds about right to me. I think the Yankees are clearly the best. And if you're ignoring pricing, I think the Dodgers are right up there with them. Did you say Philly?
Philly's on the board, yeah.
Yeah, and I'd put the Mets on the board for sure. I think they're going to come in too low owned.
Why do you like the Mets?
They're facing John Lester, Dean. John Lester's not very good. All the righties are going to have the platoon advantage. You have the extra stolen base potential. So yeah, the Mets are a good offense. So this is definitely a spot where, especially if they're going to come in, as the 7th or 8th or 9th highest owned offense tonight, I want some of that.
I just hate that ballpark, but I hear you. Like is that a bottom 5 hitting ballpark? Bottom 5, bottom 6? Is that about right?
Are we talking about Citi Field?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pitcher's park for sure, but it's not bad for home runs, which is kind of like it leans more towards the DFS scoring format, even though it does suppress runs overall.
Yeah, and then of course always like the pitchers are hitting in those ballparks too, which is never ideal either. Andre, jump in here. White Sox are number 1. Is that correct? You on your Yankees once again? They banged out 5 homers last night. They're still in Baltimore. John Means is one of their better pitchers, obviously, but he still gives up a ton of fly balls. Still gives up a fair bit of homers as well. And you're locked in for 9 innings against that bullpen. That's pretty rough as well. Give me your top 3 stacks tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna take one last chance and be over the field on the Yankees, and I hope that they just pay off for me because every time I play them, they don't do well. But I think this matchup is fantastic for them. To me, they'll be my number 1 overall stack compared to the field. I do like Chicago. They probably will fall in probably around 4 for me, I would say. And then I do like getting to Philadelphia as my second favorite stack on the board, followed by obviously I like the Dodgers as well. It's probably like my third. But a sneaky stack I really do like to get to a little bit is Cleveland. I think definitely like the Indians going against Jacks a little bit and going to try to be over the weight. Well, I think it'll be hard to be over the weight over on them, but I'm going to definitely be over the field on them for sure.
How do we go about stacking Cleveland? It's just like, you hope that, it's the same deal as always with Cleveland. It's like Franmil's solid, Jose is solid, and everybody else is just kind of, they're all professional baseball players, but there's nobody else you're excited about rostering, right? But you'll stack them up, sure.
Yeah, I like getting to Chang a little bit at 3.5. I don't think he's a bad option and a bad play today. I also do like Zimmer a lot today, so I think he'll make my lineup. And obviously Straw leading off, I think is another good option for sure. And he's at 4.4K, so a little probably at his price or maybe a little bit above his price, but I think he's a great option today too as well. So I think that this team overall has a chance to be probably more of a good secondary stack, but definitely definitely see him as a top stack and a primary and take that on GPP.
Cardi, is Griffin Jacks, is he the worst pitcher in this slate?
No, I wouldn't think he's the worst. He's not awesome, but I do really like a Cleveland stack. Arihara projects as the worst on the slate, and then Lester.
Yeah, Jackson this season.
Jackson's bottom 5 though. Yeah.
Yeah, 2.52 homers per 9 in the season.
And then hitters umpire in that game.
They have a hitters umpire there as well.
Extreme hitters umpire.
He doesn't strike anybody out. 17.2% as far as strikeouts. He's going to walk you at 8% as well. He gives up a ton of fly balls. Oh, somehow I went this whole time without mentioning Jansen Junk, which is just amazing baseball name. Jansen Junk is going to be pitching for the Angels tonight. That's why that's one of the reasons why the White Sox are the top stack. I mean, no Tim Anderson obviously kind of changes things up, but do we want to pick on Junk, Cardi? Yeah,
if they're going to be the highest owned stack, I think you're under on them, but certainly as one-offs and cash games and that sort of thing, like just in the raw sense, they are one of the better offenses tonight. I don't think there's like a lot difference between them and the Phillies, the Mets. So again, if they're going to be a lot higher owned than teams like that, then no thanks, but they are good.
Andre, I ran a poll earlier today. I just pulled it up on the old Twitter machine. Best name in baseball currently, Lars Nootbaar, Jansen Junk, and Packy Naughton. Who's your favorite amongst those 3? Or do you have somebody else to nominate?
I like Jansen Junk is kind of interesting.
Pretty good, yeah.
I'll probably go with him over the other ones.
And I forgot to add Dick Lovelady. I made a mistake not putting him in the poll.
Well,
That was-
that one wins.
Is that Dick Lovelady's music? Yeah, I put other because I figured some people were just gonna nominate, but yeah, that was a mistake. Mistakes were made for sure. Do we want to play the stack game? We're gonna play a stack game in a second. Anything else you guys want to add as far as the stacks? We'll kind of elaborate as far as we'll throw some teams out your way. The chat is provided those teams. We're going to kind of double down on some of the conversation we just had. We're going to put a number on it. The first number is a primary stack, like a 4-man stack, a 5-man stack. Second number, like a little mini stack, like a 2-man or a 3-man. Andre, you're going to go first. Cardi, you're going to go second. Andre, the White Sox, put a number on it, 1 through 5.
4-4.
There are 3, maybe a 4 for me, just because of ownership.
All right, the Houston Astros, Andre.
See, I'm on them, but I'm gonna say 4-4.
2s for me if they're going to be popular.
Oh, wow. You don't like the cheapies on Houston? You don't think they're kind of sort of somewhat interesting, like the Chas McCormick, those kind of characters?
They're fine, I guess, but I don't know. There's better. Well, they're fine. Maybe 2-3 then. There you go.
I'm not trying to manipulate your number. Feel free to. Your number is your number, man.
No, like if they're going to be really high owned, they don't project that well. They project worse than the White Sox, worse than the Phillies, the Mets, that's like the same as the Indians. So if they're going to be popular, then they're a 2 for me.
Andre, the Angels, we could pick on the Keuchel donkeys, right? Do we like them as a leverage stack?
I do. But I'm gonna do more of them. I'll probably say 2 as a primary and probably like a 4 as a secondary.
Cardi?
1-1.
I gotta pick with them a little bit. I have to.
All right. You said you like Cleveland, Andre. Put a number on Cleveland.
5-5.
Woo. Cardi?
I think it's probably 5-5, maybe 4s, but they're good and they're not going to be owned enough.
Who's your third favorite Indian tonight, Cardi?
I assume we're talking Ramirez.
Reyes and Ramirez, I presume, are 1, 2.
And I guess it's probably Zimmer or Straw. I mean, it's Zimmer. It's Zimmer.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I understand why people will be playing them for sure. Still waiting for a Dodger lineup. Not coming in just yet, but that is the West Coast game, so that's not too surprising. Let's put a number in the Dodgers, Andre.
4-4.
Yeah, they're a 4 or a 5 for me.
By the way, Cardi, do you have a thought, or is the bat adjusted to Bellinger? Like he's so cheap on Yahoo. I think he's still minimum at $7. He's so cheap on FanDuel. How does the bat handle that? Because Bellinger had injuries. He's been terrible. Former MVP. Like it's hard to argue he's once the guy he once was, but in theory he can come back and be that guy. I wouldn't know how to like project him.
Yeah, I mean the bat was the low man on him coming into the season, but it still thinks he's like a well above average hitter because he was so elite for so long. And I mean, yeah, we're at the end of the season now, but he hasn't even played half of a normal season because of the injuries and stuff. So his sample size isn't that large, and his history is so good that it just believes he's not a 234 WOBA hitter. Like he's gonna get better, he's gonna be good, and maybe he's just being hampered by injuries and the projection's too optimistic. But projections can't really know that.
Andre, your thoughts as far as the Yankees 1 through 5?
I'm gonna take a chance to say 5-5, but caution with that because every time I play them, they don't do well.
Cardi?
You said Yankees?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be 5s for me.
And again, keep firing off some questions there in chat. Devin will be compiling and throwing more my way. We have some on layaway, but we're probably gonna have some time. We have some extra time today. It seems like my time management wasn't very good. I didn't talk enough about the Simpsons, apparently. I can talk more about that Simpsons episode if you want me to. Dale Strawberry was in that team, Ozzie Smith, Wade Boggs. It's an old school. It's a good one. It's worth looking up. Steve Sachs, Saxy boy. All right, the Philadelphia Phillies, Andre.
5-5.
I'll say 4s. You can make the case for 5s. I like the Phillies a lot.
This is another one, like, there's no way of answering it, but like Real Muto, they're still in a playoff chase. Philadelphia still has hope, like 15% chance, whatever it is, according to math. Like Real Muto is dealing with a shoulder. He's not catching today. He's playing first base. He's, Knapp is back there as well. I don't know. How do you project that, Cardi? Like, he's in the lineup. He's a gamer. He's giving it a go, but I wouldn't think he's 100%. Maybe he is. I'm not trying to mush him, but I don't know what to do with that. Is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's tough to know. I think you just take a stance. Like, if you're doing Philly stacks, like, he's making some of them for you. Maybe most of them.
Yeah. Andre, Minnesota.
Minnesota's I'm gonna say a 3-3. I'm just conflicted on there in the middle for me. I'm gonna play a little bit of them.
Yeah, 3-3. I think they're fine, but not like one of the best.
Cut more stacks. Baltimore, Andre.
Baltimore, I'm gonna say probably like a 1 and a 3.
Cardi.
I'm gonna go 2-3.
You guys both said 3. Like, who would be the secondary pieces? Andre, your secondary pieces like that you would maybe 2 or 3 guys. Who do you like in the Baltimore side?
Mount Castle's still in the lineup, so I like getting to him. Hayes, obviously Mullins leading off Santander. They still have some of the good hitters in there, so I don't mind using one of those part of my secondary stacks.
Cardi, are you still crushing the was it NL Labor? Are you still in the finals or something like that? What's going on there? Or is it? It's not a finals, right? It's like it's a season long thing, isn't it? Just right.
Yeah, it's a season long thing. I'm in first place with a good lead, so hopefully that holds.
I was thinking, like, Cedric Mullins. This doesn't matter for daily fantasy, but we have time. I'm just curious. Where does he project in like a season long draft right now? It feels like to me like he's a top 25 player. Is that nuts to say?
I mean, he might go that high next year, but he'll be a guy that I'll be out on at whatever high price he's at, because these guys that just have these ridiculous seasons out of nowhere, they tend to not repeat them. The bat's not like super really buying into him. No projection system, it looks like right now, is really buying into him. So,
but somebody will reach on him, you're saying?
Someone will reach on him, of course. Yeah.
I was listening to the Baltimore broadcast the other day, and apparently nobody's ever done a 30-30 for Baltimore. And I think he's got at least a shot, like an outside chance to do it this year. So he's just been awesome. He's one of those guys, if you played every single slate, you've been profitable with Mullins for sure. All right. St. Louis, Andre.
1-1.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, I don't like St. Louis either. Yeah. The Mets, Andre.
I'm gonna say 2-3. I mean, I want to say more because it's John Lester, but Lester has been pitching decent lately, which is surprising. So I'm gonna say 2-3.
5-5.
5-5. Just not messing around. I love it. And is it just like, is there any reason to get fancy? Or like nobody's playing the Mets anyway, so just play the best 5 Mets? Is that what you're thinking, Cardi?
Yeah, pretty much. You don't have to get, weird with it. Play Lindor, Baez, Alonso, maybe VR, and, you can do McCann in your catcher spot, or like, just play the good guys.
Cut more teams. Andre, San Diego.
About 2-3.
Yeah, probably 2-2.
Last team on the list is San Francisco, Andre.
I really want to. I'm just gonna say 3-3, just because it's Musgrove, and at times he can't pitch bad, but they're okay. But not gonna really try to get a lot of them. I'll be a little bit have a couple liners of them.
Cardi.
Sorry, what was the team?
San Fran.
They're probably 1-1 for me.
I'm going to have you do this. They're asking for a DK cash breakdown. I normally do it, but since you're here, Cardi, just pretend like you're on crunch time. You give just go around the horn. We talked about pitchers before, but if you can kind of go around the horn, like basically your core plays for a cash game, not a precise lineup, but the one high, one low, or just kind of how you would build it basically.
I mean, you're loading up on Yankees. So like you're playing Gary Sanchez, you're probably playing like either Luke Voit or Abreu or Alonso at first. Second, you're playing LeMahieu, or you're playing Baez, or like Altuve's fine. Third, it's probably Moncada. I guess you could like punt with Marwin or something like that. At short, Corey Seager's like always too cheap. So like you can play him, but Gleyber Torres for the Yankees is really good. Like I like all the Yankees. Didi for the Phillies is good. Outfield, Judge and Stanton are clearly the top guys, but like Harper's fine. Luis Roberts fine. Austin Hayes, I think is fine. Yordan Alvarez on FanDuel is really, really good. Tucker on FanDuel. So yeah, that's kind of the main things. Like it's a lot of Yankees, mix in some of the good Astros, some of the Phillies, some of the Mets, some of the White Sox, and that's kind of cash.
Yeah, DK kind of goofed in those White Sox. Like it's Yankees and White Sox because Eloy's 3.8. Robert leading off at 4.4K. But if you have the money, like you're Judge, just play Judge. That's probably the first place you start in cash games on DK. All right, they're asking about umpires. Maybe they just joined the show. Hey, do subscribe, turn on notifications, keeps the proverbial house lights on. We just have extreme hitting umpires, no extreme pitcher umpires, and they're all in. Extreme hitters umpire for Yanoa, Griffin, Quantrill, Urias, Sensatella, and Kelly. You guys want to stay tuned for crunch time. If you're premium members, see what Roth has to say about that Atlanta game. It looks dicey at best, so that may get canceled. We shall see. Stay tuned. If you don't have premium, why not? Get yourself $10 off the first month. You can get it with just one sport, just baseball. That doesn't make any sense. Like there's 3 weeks left in the season. Sure, there's playoff content and all that, but you can get the combo, all the sports, football, baseball, basketball. It's college basketball, college football, MMA, golf, esports, all that good stuff. Everything with the exception of NASCAR at one price as well, $10 off. Also, link will be in the chat for you guys. Have at it. All right, some more questions to tackle. Let's see. Andre, DK, GPP, Carlos Hernandez. Is he in the pool? You're running 75 lineups. Is he on one of them?
Yes, he will be.
Is he on 5? Maybe just one.
He's just one.
Yeah. Everyone is all right with Mania. We're all right with Mania, right? Everybody's okay with him.
Yeah.
And that's the right word to use. All right. We're all right with him. Not enthused.
Yeah, he's fine. I mean, he projects as the 4th best pitcher on the slate. But he's kind of expensive, and it's like a small gap between him and everyone else. But he's good, pretty good. Okay.
Cardi Michael wants to know, what's your issue with mustaches? The Cortez mustache. You hate Ron Burgundy. Are you just anti-mustache?
I'm not anti-mustache. I'm anti forced humor that falls flat. That's why I don't like Ron Burgundy. I'm fine with Cortez's mustache. I was just surprised because of the Yankees rules. But you're right. Like mustaches, I think kind of have been allowed historically.
Let's get some home run calls out to the people. Andre, give me 3 guys or whatever. If you want to name more, have at it. Enjoy yourself. Who's going to bang some homers out tonight?
Sorry, yeah, Cardi just lowered the risk, I think, a little bit on Atlanta, so I might have to have some in my player pool.
Oh, it's been lowered?
No, he's saying he might have been a little harsh, but he'll know about pregame with the tarp. I'm assuming that game's not going to go, though. But I said my 3 with Jose Ramirez, Shohei, and Herrera from Philly. But I'll give a couple more that I have that I think is going to hit a few. I like. Sorry, I'm just trying to pull it up real quick. Since we're going with the Yankees as one of the better teams, I'd like Lou Voigt to try to hit a home run today. I'm gonna go Zimmer as well from Cleveland, and I'm gonna go also. Obviously, we know Bryce Harper, who's one of the best players in the league. I'm gonna say hit for him at a home run as well.
All right, Cardi, see those and raise them. Be as ambitious as you want to be. Give me chalky ones. Give me off the board ones. What do you have as far as homers?
I mean, they're going to be chalky, but Stanton and Judge project easily as the best chance of hitting a home run, and the next 2 or 3 guys are also Yankees. So it's a great spot for the Yankees. Off the board, Ryan Mountcastle is 5K, but he definitely projects for a strong chance of a home run tonight.
Oh, I got one more. This is completely off the board. It's probably not gonna be on, but I think Jarrett Walsh hits a home run today off Keuchel.
Not even off the bullpen, off Keuchel. Hey, this is a good strategy question for you, Andre. What's the most, and it's applicable tonight as well because salary is not that much of an issue in some places. What's the most salary you would be comfortable with leaving on the table in a DK tournament tonight?
I normally typically leave about 1,000 is the most comfortable I'm with. I know people leave more, but that's typically my sweet spot is leaving 1,000 left on the table.
Cardi, at this point in the season, are we assuming that a lot of the good pitchers are going to have shorter leashes? I think that's all relative based upon several things, but a lot of it is like where you're at in the standings, right?
Yeah, part of it is that, the bat accounts for it. As you get deeper into the season, pitchers do tend to pitch less. It's not usually like a huge effect. Occasionally you'll have one or two guys where they just all of a sudden throw 70 pitches and you're like, what just happened? But that's pretty rare. It's usually more of a gradual kind of thing.
Yeah, and if you're a veteran, you're more likely to go deeper, just general rules as opposed to a rookie. If you're in a pennant chase, you're more likely to go deeper, but general rules, and it's a lot of it's case by case stuff. We didn't talk about the Cubs stack. Do we like the Cubs, anybody?
I like a few of the hitters for secondary stacks. Other than that, not really, or one-offs, because I know they have some guys that get home runs.
Cardi, you like the Cubs at all?
Not really.
I guess that's kind of sort of well, you're asking about Suarez as well. Yeah, we talk about Ranger Suarez. If you guys are joining us late, somebody's asking about Ranger Suarez. Well, yeah, same side. I guess that's a leverage play. I assume that's what they're thinking because Suarez is going to be fairly popular, especially on DK. I think McGill's going to be more popular on FanDuel than Suarez, just the way the salaries are lined up. Another question or two before we step aside and get out of here. Hey, I'll be back later on tonight. We're talking football, week 2. Super excited about that. Myself, John Daigle, Rich Rebar, two of the smartest fantasy football out there. Mine's out there, 9 o'clock. You guys can watch live, watching the replay. Cardi, you're doing the Blitz this weekend. And Andre, you're also 10:30, right? 10:30 Sunday morning.
Pretty.
Hopefully week 2 turns around better for us. Week 1 was pretty rough for sure, but small sample size. Anything else that's worth talking about as far as this slate, Andre, before we step aside and make way for crunch time?
No, I would say just try to just make sure you get different, and I would say obviously play some Cleveland stacks. I think that they are a good leverage play against the field. I'm not going to be high owned and could potentially win you a GBP tonight.
One more, Cardi. Give me Harper or Alvarez, two of the best bats in the slate. I don't really know how you pick between the two. It's probably lineup construction, but as a one-off, who do you prefer?
It's really close. I would imagine Alvarez is going to get more ownership, so I'll take Harper, but they're both good plays.
They're both great plays, and that's a 51-49 as far as I'm concerned. And there's really no right or wrong until you look at the box score after the game. All right, that was the show. Do appreciate you guys watching. Feel free to hit the like button on the way out, subscribe, turn on notifications. Tons of shows for football, all the content here at Rotogrinders.com. That was Andre. That was Derek Cardi of the Blitz. That was baseball. I was Dean. Stay tuned for crunch time. Roth's going to tell you what's going on as far as the weather. We're out of here. Holler!